How you guys doing there? It's Doug Simon D-Share with the inaugural event, the one and only Stream Nation TV. Now on this channel here, it's all about helping content creators come up with their best work. We're going to have conversations with some great inspirational leaders in the field of digital creation. We're going to be focused heavily on helping you guys get over your nerves, get over yourself, and be able to put out content on a regular basis that is doing you justice, and also more importantly, that will enable the audience to better connect and engage with your message. Okay, so no more excuses. This is about being live, being spontaneous, and being direct, being in the moment. Okay, so if you think you're not smart enough, think again. If you think you don't have the voice, think again. If you think that you're not rich enough, you don't have the money, you don't have the technical equipment because you can't afford it, think again. Can you do this? Can you do this by yourself? Sure, you can. Are you terrified? Absolutely. I don't care. Just press record. So this is the one and only Stream Nation TV, the only TV station that focus on your own development in producing quality content. And that being said, today I'm blessed. I have Evie B to co-host the event with me. Just going to bring him in now. Evie B, what's up from Evie B TV? You good?
Hey everyone, I'm fantastic. Happy to be here. I'm Everton Barton, aka Evie B from Evie B TV, and it's a pleasure to be here, Douglas.
Fantastic. And do you know what? To share on this occasion, I thought we were going to have a conversation that's going to be centered around some of the things that I've been hearing over the last couple of years when it comes to creating content. And just so happens that last week on the Mic Drop Club, we did share a few gems and tactics, techniques, hacks, shall we say life hacks, or should we call them streaming hacks, content creation hacks, to help you get over your nerves and put out that content, which was very well received. And just as I was saying those things, I was actually going through the therapeutic process myself. So I found that very, very liberating. So today I want to build on that. Just say that you have overcome your nerves. Yeah. So the fear is gone. And now you're in the mode of pressing record and delivering that content. What does it look like? What do you need to do to put out high quality content? And I would say there are distinct steps that you need to be addressing, focusing your attention on, okay, and trying your best to factor those in before and during while you're putting out the content, okay? So a lot of this, although it's another step forward, I want you also to think about taking a step back, okay? You already know you're going to put out content, right? But there are some steps that you need to consider. And these are the steps I'm talking about when you have to first consider the platform. There are so many platforms in this space for pushing out media. So you got Twitch, for example. You got live streaming by Facebook. You can do live streaming from Instagram. You can go live on Twitter. You can go live on LinkedIn if you got the access codes. So there are various platforms that you can go live on. And I just want you to think about that in your back of your mind first, all these platforms. And then when you're in the mode of thinking about your content, you got to ask yourself, where is the audience? Where are they grazing? The first job I would say as a content creator that's putting out content is to be a good shepherd. You know, be a good shepherd. Where are your sheep? Yeah. And I'm using that in a very respectable way. Yes, we've got fans, we've got people engaging this show. I don't refer to you as a sheep, but I'm just referring to them in that context so that you can kind of picture that your audience can go to any platform they want. They don't have to be loyal on any one of these platforms. Yeah. Typically, you can imagine them jumping over the fence to another farm yard. What are you going to do? You need to know that.
How can you keep them coming back? How can you keep them engaged?
Yeah. How can you keep them engaged? So it's not so much stopping them going to different platforms and trying to control them. It's for you to be flexible enough, to be adaptable enough, creative enough, yeah, to go wherever they go. And that is the story of humanity. We as human beings, we've traveled and followed the movements of animals since day one. because we know that animals typically know where water is, okay? And without the animals, we don't have food to eat and so forth. So that's the same thing when it comes to putting out content. Where is your audience, okay? And ask yourself, how do they like to consume your content? How do they like to consume the content? Do they like it in bite-sized chunks? And I don't know about you, Ev. Have you noticed the change in and the attention span of audiences over the last 10 years? I would even say even 20 years. I would say for me growing up in the 80s. Yeah? Go on, Ev. You going.
Yeah, it's changed. Of course it's changed. You know, we can see how the audience attention span has changed because of how movies have changed. Movies have action. They've even got metrics for how often an action scene happens or how much the camera may switch. One of the things that was brought to our attention when we were using this platform called ECAMM, and one of the things that they talked about in the whole engagement of the video is switching your camera ever so often. Sometimes we set this up so it's like an automatic timer. So that way the audience, because of this quick interchange, it keeps the audience engaged. And that's just one key element to making sure that your videos feel more dynamic instead of this one static image, like you just sitting here and just watching me and I'm like talking to you like a robot. So here I am going to tell you what I'm going to tell you and you're just going to listen. No, we're looking at different forms of engagement to keep the audience entertained. Sometimes we switch to completely new scenes that have relevance, that drive that kind of dynamic way of delivering content, so it keeps you as the audience engaged with what we're talking about. And just to follow on for some of the things that Douglas was saying prior, is content is king. This is the move. We're moving on from the fear of going live. Now we're at the point where we got to deliver some form of content. So Douglas, do you want to say something before I jump in and start talking about what the type of content we need?
Yeah, and I must say as well, Ev, that the angle that you just had previously is far better for you. Yeah, the angle you're at now, you're too up in the screen.
I'm too close.
You're too close. You look like you're in a firing squad. I think that is far better. You got more depth to yourself there. No, but I totally agree. Over the last few years, you've seen how the audience their attention spans is no longer than goldfish. Typically, we are bored very easily. The eyes are designed to spot difference. So hence, as Everton said, FVB said, you have to switch angles up, do all these kind of stuff. So even overlays, at the moment you're looking at a static overlay. These are our draft overlays for the show. However, they will be starting to be dynamic. They're going to be moving around bits and pieces, only to keep your iris moving. So it keeps you engaged, keeps you awake, okay? Not to overpower the show. I've seen some streaming platforms, shows where it's overpowering, but this is not what this is about. So bear that in mind, that the attention span of your audience is changing over the years. We've got, I think, also due to the fact of commercials, which became mini movies. So you can say, I can watch a commercial for 45 seconds and get typically all the action that you typically find in an hour, 10-minute movie. So we're already geared to that. And it's actually, look now on platforms. We went from Twitter, 140 characters, maybe 240 characters now, Instagram's got a constricted amount of length of content that you can put out. Upload is different if you go live, of course. And now we've got TikTok. Yeah, you've got like 1 minute or 1.5 minutes worth of content, and that's blowing up. You've got Clubhouse that's just strictly audio. So you have to pay close attention to what your audience wants to consume. And if you don't know those platforms, you want to put out content, it is incumbent on you to go on those platforms. There's no point in bitching, whining that, my audience have gone to another platform. I've got to figure out how can I bring them back. It's not about that. You need to go to wherever they are and add value in their space, because if you can't, it makes you one-dimensional. FVB was doing the robot dance a second there. It's Peter Crouch thing. You know what I mean? But then you need to be comfortable enough to go where that platform is. Okay, so bear that in mind.
Mm-hmm.
When you putting out content, and I'm going to go back another step, and I should have said it in the last video that we did, but there was something about worrying about the quality of your content before you produce it. There's an equation that we always look at. Some people say when you're putting out content, do I put out lots of content on a regular basis, right? Irrespective of the quality of my content, or do I go with my Master Da Vinci quality content and come out once a month, once a week?
Douglas,
what is better? What's your opinion, MVP?
Let me just jump in. Let me jump in with that one. Me and Douglas have had this debate. So I'm going to, we're bearing all. This is the show where we kind of bear some of our secrets. We have this debate. I can sometimes be too much of a perfectionist, and Douglas is very much someone who's like, do you know what? Content, we got this 80-20 rule. He'll explain it. And he will just get that content out. That's what it's there for. It's not there to be hoarded. It's not there to be stored. It's there to get it out. And that also works as a metaphor in real life. How many times have you been in class? Now, I'm a student. I'm doing my master's at the moment in public health. But how many times have I seen people in class who have an idea or could say something, but they want all the stars to align before they put their hand up and actually say what it is that they're thinking? And when that moment doesn't come, and then someone else has said it, it's past. Yeah. So this is the same way when you're trying to deliver content. You can't sit and wait for all the stars to align. When there is something to be said, this is one of the things about being on trend. When there is something to be said, say it. Get yourself. I love that gloss. But
some of you guys want one of those, yeah. I had to bring that from the Mic Drop Club,
special
right?
Effects.
Yeah,
yeah.
We have to bring that from the Mic Drop Club. Say that again, just one more time.
Yeah. So, like I said, you cannot wait for the stars to align. The idea is when something has to be said, say it. Take that opportunity, or otherwise you miss something that may have been on trend, that you were on trend. You may have been like there before it became a trend, so you could have been the trendsetter. But if you are waiting for everything to align, you will always miss the boat. In England, everyone always says that the buses are always late, but when one bus comes, a lot of them turn up at the same time. But there's also, if you still think like that mindset, yeah, but you know, if I'm there, then it will turn up. More than likely, when you get to the bus stop, all of those buses have gone. And you don't get the opportunity to actually be on trend. So that's one of the things that I wanted to just make sure we point out as we continue this conversation.
No, great point. And I'll just build with you on that one. People end up having this analysis paralysis, not putting out content because they have, I would say, they're living their imaginations way too much. Yeah. And the more creative you are in your imagination, you have a difficulty in dealing with the reality, the observable reality, the objective reality, because you're so happy and content in your head reality, which is completely different. Nobody cares what you've experienced in your head. Do you know what I mean? Nobody. You don't even own the rights to your own thoughts. You don't, because you can't say, I thought of it first, but did nothing with it. Who cares? You can't even bring that in the court of law. I thought about it. Think about it. If a thought has come into your head, you picked up on frequencies, right? You've been inspired by something. Someone else has been inspired by the same things. The difference between them and you is they actioned it. They have actioned it. So it's incumbent on you. So if you don't action your own thoughts, it makes you irresponsible. It makes you an irresponsible person. You have no responsibilities. That's why you're not in a position of power to have this platform today. What I'm doing now with Stream Nation TV, EVB TV, Mic Drop Club, 140 Rule, all these things is because we're responsible. We're saying to ourselves, we've got this idea, but it's no good in the vessel of our own
imagination.
We need to share it. There's somebody out there that needs to hear the wisdom. Somebody out there needs to hear the wisdom. And I'm going to drop some now. What you need to do, first and foremost is lower your standards. And this is counterintuitive.
I know. It's almost like the opposite message.
Yeah, exactly. And as I'm saying it, Evie B's chair is doing this. I can see his chair doing, let me see if I can do it. It's like, his chair is like vibrating. It's like, it's doing this. Thinking, you know what I mean? He's like chopped off his own legs. You know what I mean? Because for people who are technical, that's the worst thing. You don't want to hear somebody say, lower your standards.
Absolutely.
But because your standards are so high, you're introducing
barriers.
You can't even start. The fear of failure is super high. The probability of failure is even higher. And then what happens when you fail? You go down harder because you're coming up from a different height. You in your head, you thought that you were about to achieve that great thing, but you didn't. So you come down faster and harder, and to pick yourself back up is hard. That's why people typically produce content once a year, once every 2 years. No consistency. Lower your standards. Right now, we could have thrown lots of animations. I could have said, I'm not going live with Stream Nation TV until all my assets are in place. I could have. I would have the right to.
Absolutely.
But then, but what would happen is if you guys who are watching this tuned in and then saw somebody else go live with the same thing, what then would you say? You know what I mean? So it's important that, like I said, to put out the content in real time as soon as you get the opportunity to do so. So as I'm saying that,
do you know what? It's funny that whilst you were bringing these points together about you don't own it, it's in your head, but you don't own it. You can't go to court and say that's my idea. And you highlighted that point of it's irresponsible to have good ideas and not deliver. And the only way the analogy I can put that together into is, imagine you're running a business. Yeah. You're the person that runs a business. You got staff. You're running a business, but you got a great idea, but you don't action it. Yeah. That's irresponsible to your company. And the reason why I'm using that type of language is because I want to point out something, that the first company you ever own is your own company. Did you follow my drift? Not a physical company, but your own company. Yeah. So if you are not responsible to yourself, you are going to fail at delivering anything else that's going to affect someone else. That's going to affect everything else. So you've got to make sure that from your own perspective, if you've got something and it's meaningful, deliver it. Don't wait for the applause.
Yeah, this is why I said it.
Try to do for the whole applause.
Here you go again. You might have felt that you didn't deserve it, but of course you did. It's important that, as I said, you're responsible, you know, and responsibility comes down to two words: respond and ability. Yeah. Absolutely. Yeah, you can respond based upon your ability. So if you've got the ability to go live, go live. If you don't have the ability to go live, you don't have the ability to go live. So you don't have the responsibility. Someone else's responsibility. You had the idea. So you might also help somebody who can respond with the ability to respond. Do you understand?
There you go.
This is why people in music, say for example, are producers. They're not singers. I know now people got auto-tune and all that kind of stuff. I'm thinking about the purest sense of the word. Yeah. Deep down, they might be wishing they could be behind the booth and laying the vocals, but some of them accept they don't have the ability, but they're going to respond with the ability that they have to master the music, make sure the sounds good, and help somebody else. This is what it's about. It's a team effort. Stream Nation TV is all about helping you produce that great content, helping you go live. No more excuses, right? Just press record. So again, as we bring it home now, the types of content now, when you create that content, you got to ask yourself another question. What behavior do you want to provoke in your listener?
Yeah, in your audience.
What behavior do you want to respond? If you are a soul singer and you're producing a lover's rock, a lover's track, you want people to slow things right down and reflect on past relationships. That's what you want. You don't expecting somebody to do the Running Man spin on the head to your lover's tune. It'd be incongruent. You know what I mean? So when you're putting out the content for whatever platform, for whatever audience you want, make sure it matches their expectations. If you means you need to put energy behind your voice, think about how you sit, project your voice. If it means you've got to be more serious, that's why news readers, no matter what they're reading, have a certain posture. They have to have a certain posture, and their emotions can fluctuate, plus or minus a few degrees. But if it's really tragic, and you see the news anchor breaking down, oh my God,
yeah,
you would say first and foremost, they have every right to feel like that, but that's not what you expect from a news reader. You see what I mean? So you got to be thinking about what are your audience expectations, and don't try and break trusted ways of communicating with your audience. Okay, so building that call to action. How do you want them to feel? Gives rise to the next question before you close your show. What do you want them to do after
the show?
Yeah. So is your content designed to encourage people to buy equipment? So if you're struggling to find out different ideas for your show, ask yourself these questions. Do you want people to buy a product? Yeah. Are you selling a product? Yeah. Right. Or are you saying to yourself, do you want people to evaluate products that exist already? To have a deeper understanding of the technology that they're using, of the literature that they're reading, of the history that they're under. What do you want? What do you want them to do? Right? Are you just trying to engage your audience, just to increase engagement, which is a fantastic one. Some people's platforms are solely designed to build the spirit of community in and around a topic. Yeah? Right. Are you trying to raise awareness to something that's going on around the world? Well killings, hunger, human rights. Or what is it? What are you trying to do? Because all of those things will have a knock-on effect to how you structure your show, in your head, and also how you deliver the content. These things, you have to come to terms and have resolved them straight away. Because if you go live with the mic and it's on, and you haven't got these things in mind, yes, you might produce content, but it would not be, it won't do you justice, and your audience won't know what to do with it after they have consumed it. It's like, that was nice, but I feel, do I need a mint? Do I need a mint? Now I've had this content. What do I do with it?
What do I do with it? I find that really good shows that tend to be engaging follow that principle. I mean, if we just look back at some of the things that Douglas just said here, what is the topic? What is the theme? Are you trying to spread awareness? Is your show about just engagement? So you're building that community for engagement. Are you buying or selling something? Or is your channel about evaluating? So are you taking a product and saying, well, these are the pros and cons of this. So this is what, maybe feeding that back. So some of these titles are not exclusive to each other. Or to itself. They can be used in conjunction with each other. So you could be buying and selling and evaluating. You may be spreading an awareness of a product that you want to deliver. You may be reporting on issues. And sometimes that's the fastest and easiest way to just start your channel. Report on what it is that, just report on what it is that you like and things that are easy for you to talk about.
Absolutely.
My channel tends to talk about games, technology, and my other channels start to talk about health, because those are the two fields that I'm in. So maybe your channel is about discussing issues like what we're doing right now. We're providing you with engaging information. We're providing you with a discussion, so at least you can be a part of it. And like we said in the bottom discussion section, make sure you write your comments. We'll be looking at those as well. But you see, this, when you start using a combination of these things, don't overload yourself. Don't try to do all of these things at once. But the more you start to feel comfortable with it, the more you start to get better at what it is that you're doing. But having that framework at hand and straight to mind makes it easier for you to actually press that button, go live. So you see how we just linked this from the last show to this one. You press that button, you get over the fear, you press that button, you go live. The next thing is, what are we talking about?
Yeah, and if you can't go live by yourself, go live other people. You know, it's not just
Again.
about yourself. Go live other people. The question that
Yeah.
we had before was this thing about quantity versus quality. And as we've discussed now, the elements that you need to consider to produce your show, I would say to you, automatically, you're going to be producing better quality shows if you consider all of those things. If you consider the platform, the content to meet that platform, if you consider the audience and how they want to consume the information in the first place, if you consider the call to action, automatically, you're going to be producing better content. Right?
Absolutely.
And the 10,000 rule still applies. The quicker you can get up and running and start with something very, very basic and introduce just one element per show, just one element per show. 10 shows, you're 10 times better than your first show. Instead of trying to do a show that's 100 times better than 0. 100 times. And again, people will not even start. I'm into this game, Stream Nation Live TV. It's all about helping you come out with content. The reason why I'm passionate about that is because if you look on YouTube, if you look on all of these platforms, you got the same faces. You got the same types of shows. You see, we need new content creators.
Diversity.
You know, look at how excited you are when you find a new author and you read a book. That's how it should be when you discover somebody new on YouTube. So there are people out there with tons of ideas that can take the conversation forward in any field of their expertise. And every B's point about, you know, the type of content, the reason why you put out content, whether it's for raise awareness, sell things, they're all interchangeable. You could do one that does all of those things. It doesn't really matter. The fact of the matter is you're crafting your show with a purpose. If you have a purpose, you can also evaluate. The good thing about coming out in all aspects of your life, the good thing about coming out is you can then evaluate. You can evaluate. If you don't come out and you don't have any consistency when your channel produces and releases its shows, you cannot then look back at your analytics and say you're improving, you've got no way of assessing. But at least if you produce content every Friday, for example, at 2:00 over a 6-month period, you can then look and reflect. And I don't want people to come out shows and be caught in the numbers game, because that's deceptive. If you focus on organic content, organic growth, that's natural growth. So if that means 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, you got to be in it for the long haul. Don't get caught up in analytics, like how many views have you had of your video. That's not important. That's not even important. That is a deflection. That's not evidenced by how good you are in producing your content. Remember, when you're doing all this stuff, you're introducing now interchangeable skills that will help you in your professional life.
Absolutely.
So you might have just had one view, but now mastered audio processing, video processing, graphics, delivery, and then in your job, you deliver the best presentation, and hey ho, you get promoted. Who gives a monkeys that you didn't have 10,000, 500,000 views? That's irrelevant. That's for kids. What you want to be is oversubscribed in whatever you are doing. That's why you're producing content. If your area of speciality of expertise is, say, okay, give me something complicated.
Bioengineering.
Yeah, bioengineering in fish. Yeah, yeah. There's probably one person or two people on the planet that does it.
You just said.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So, but if you get those two people, yeah, you're oversubscribed. You're maxed out. You're maxed out. You're oversubscribed. You see what I mean?
Let me jump in. Let me jump in here. Let me just quickly jump in, and don't switch it just to me, because this involves you as well. When we first started this game, and I call it I practically call everything a game. But when we started doing this YouTube, social media, video streaming, video content creation game, we only wanted, how many we was looking at getting 25 views when I first produced my first piece of content, and we got 50 views on the same day, and so I doubled what we had projected, and then the following day it went to 400, and then following day after that it was 1,000, and the following day after that, anyway, it went up to about 32,000 people watched the video. That constantly forced me to keep making content. And yeah, so I'm just having a bit of technical difficulty there. So yeah, so what basically happened from there is that I then had to figure out how I was going to, like, who my audience was and how far I wanted to go with this, with the growth of my channel. But Douglas, on the other hand, when he started a little bit after me, but what he wanted to do was build content for people, for a specific audience. And he kept on saying to me, I kept saying, Dave, you need to do all of these things and you would get this large growth. And Douglas said, no, because I might be oversubscribed. And at first I didn't quite understand his angle, because the game at that point in time was to grow the numbers of viewers. But here's the thing that you kind of learn, and this is what links back into the fear of pressing the button, is if all you're chasing is the large number of people, when your message becomes more narrow and more succinct, because the more you grow, the more focused your message becomes. At first, it starts to be a little bit scattered, but then you become more of an expert at what it is that you are talking about. And when you was casting your net to catch all the fish, you're going to catch fish that don't want to hear where you're going because they thought you were going somewhere else. And then you're going to lose some of those people. And that's going to have an impact on you if what you wanted was just large numbers. You might even change your content, even make your content worse to try and keep them. But when you've got a clear idea about what message you want to deliver, what kind of conversations you want to have, then if you lose those people, it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
Do you know what I'm saying?
There's a comment that's come in from, is it Scenario TV?
Yeah.
What are your thoughts on buying views and subs, right? My thoughts on buying views and subs is very simple. You got to get the context right. You just got to get the context right and understand why you're doing what you're doing. Okay?
Absolutely.
There's something called customer acquisition. All businesses do it. You know, like this, for example, Disney Channel. Yeah? For them to be so popular, they have to buy spreads in newspapers. They have to be front and center in your consumer's mind. That costs them money. Before they even got anyone on their platform. They've got to even give the platform away free 6 months. They're buying views. You understand?
So why don't give away this content? Also,
with the view.
But what I just wanted to say is this: even whilst they're giving away content for free, they're still purchasing all of that ad space.
Yeah. So exactly. So the whole point of buying views and buying subs, right? You could put that in the context of a business plan, okay? To have a predefined outcome. Now, when I say being oversubscribed is a problem I want to have. That is the problem you're supposed to want, to be oversubscribed. Because if you're undersubscribed, you're not making enough business. You want to, say a hairdresser, yeah? And you can only cut 8 people's hair a day, but you only got 4 people that rock up for haircuts. You're undersubscribed. You won't make enough money that day. You got potentially 4 extra people you could do haircuts and stylings for. Right. So to be oversubscribed, you're saying, oh my God, I got 10 people to do their haircuts, right? But I don't have enough time to. That is the headache you want to have. That shows you that you're growing as a business. And with that information, you can say, okay, I need to take on another stylist, another barber in my store. Yeah, I'm growing now. So being oversubscribed is something I always push, and that number will change depending on what you are doing. If you're creating popular music, the metrics you have for success is different. If you're doing something bespoke, eventually you want to grow it, but don't get fixated in it, because if you get fixated in buying the views, you stop developing your own craft. You stop developing and learning as you're going. Yeah. Buying views, there's always a place for that. Trust me, there is always a place for that, because depending on what you're doing, some people won't even look on your platform. If
Unless
you've
see a
got
certain
less
amount of numbers.
exactly.
Unless you've got
However,
certain numbers.
those are not real. Always understand that. Yeah. Those are not real. So if you want something that will lower your confidence and you don't want to feel like a fraud, don't buy views, don't buy subs. Yeah. You're in it for the long game. If that long game for you is a year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, tell yourself that, put it in your plan. Year 1, I expect to achieve X, Y, and Z. Year 2, I expect blah, blah, blah. Year 3, and demonstrate that. But because what typically happens, people get caught up in the subs and the views, they get disillusioned. They can spend 6 months buying views, and deep down what's happening is their spirit is being crushed. Because the internal dialogue you have in your head before you press record is, you're not really down, you're not really worth 50,000 views.
Yeah.
None of those are real people. And that little voice becomes a louder voice.
Yeah.
Do you understand? It becomes a louder voice to the point that you won't produce no content.
Absolutely.
50,000, if you've got 50,000 real people, real names of people that are engaging in your actual in your show, that's phenomenal. If you got 5 million, but 499,000 of them are not even real, or 999,000 of them are not even real, 1,000 are real, what's that good? What's that doing for you?
Yeah.
It's doing nothing for you. You're a fraud.
It looks good on paper, but it's not real.
It doesn't pay. Be in it for the long run and enjoy the process. That's all I would say. Have targets and actually smash them. Let's see what it says now. How do you know when it's the right place for it? Okay. Now, before you record any content, remember the last show, we addressed your why. You got to have a compelling why. Why are you doing it in the first place, right? What is your audience expectations of you? Okay? What is the audience expectations of you? Are you supposed to dress a certain way? Are you supposed to be talking about certain subjects? All of these things. That's how you know where is the right place for you. Because if all they say, you do your own research and say the top 3 people in your industry that are producing content that you want to emulate or you want to be in the same discussion as, or all of them are on like 10 million, 15 million, 20 million, whatever it is, views. Yeah. These are the only 3 people that you've researched. Yeah. And you're coming with 0. You're coming with 0. Just ask yourself realistically, how can you get to 20 million? And if so, what's your time frame to get to 20 million? The good thing about YouTube is this. You've seen shows that have had 0 views, 1 or 2 views, but over time had millions of views because things come into fashion, things come as trends. Things before that nobody was researching. Now everybody is researching. You know, and remember, if you're honest and you're true to your craft, you're going to do it irrespective of the views. Everybody will tell you this. If we didn't press record, right now, if we didn't press record, this whole conversation, everybody would have had already. Yeah. Am I lying?
Yeah. No. we talk about about these things all the time. Like we talk about so many different things that it just doesn't make sense us not going live and discussing it with everyone else. We have tons of conversations, and I am sure that a lot of the viewers here, specific things that they have conversations with their friends. So why not have that conversation? Maybe that's your hook. That's the thing that you might need to get out there and start speaking to people you don't know. You know, and I remember about 3 years ago, while I was studying, I had this minor issue. I'm not going to discuss what the issue is, but Douglas once said to me, "What's the worst that can happen? So what if they don't like it?" That is it. That's part of getting over that fear.
Yeah. And we're going to close, and that's a very good point.
Need to hear that feedback anyway, for you to understand what it is that they will like.
Absolutely. And again, be true to yourself. Like we were just saying there, me and everybody will have this conversation anyway. We're just sharing a conversation, one of many conversations that we've had over the years. Okay, so it doesn't really matter if you don't like it. Fine, we're trying. We're being sincere. You know, we're coming with from a sincere place. Yeah, Stream Nation TV is to help people create their best content. That's it. If you've taken one nugget from this conversation and you apply it to your own platform and you feel better about it, our job is done. It is done.
It's done.
And we're going to leave you. My closing comments is going to be this. As we said, false fear is false. What? False evidence appearing real. Yeah.
Appearing real. Yeah.
Yeah. That's fear, isn't it? Yeah.
That's what
something
fear
false.
is.
Yeah. Exactly. It's not real. Yeah. But you've overcome your fear, and this is what I want all of you to recognize here. Last nugget of wisdom I'm going to leave in, and then I'm going to leave it up to every bee to bring home the baton. Every bee is the last leg is going to bring home the baton, right? He's in the 100-meter sprint. So I'm going to leave you like this. There are 4 things you need to overcome in life. 4 things, and this will help you in your content creation. The first one is get over fear. If you get over the fear, you're already in the top 10 bracket. Because 90% people will yield, will back down to their fear. Yeah? You just get over your fear, you're already in the top 10%. That cuts out 90% of the rubbish people that are living in the head. They're not even in your space. They're not even worth talking about. They don't exist.
Absolutely.
Yeah, they're having conversations with themselves as we are speaking now. The people listen to this say, yeah, I'm going to do it. And tomorrow they're going to do nothing.
Or I'm going to do better than that. Oh, I'm going to do better than that. And they don't do nothing.
They're not going to do nothing, right? So doing that is first one. So what happens when you go over your fear in top 10%? What happens now? You get what's called C. There's clarity. You get clarity because there's no noise no more. You're not surrounded by people that haven't done nothing. Yeah, you have clarity. I don't share conversations with people that don't do anything. It's a waste of my time and my energy, right? So when you've done that, you're now seeing things clearly. You have what's called clarity. You can really see the competition for what the competition is. You can really see the platform for what the platform really is. You can really see the way you're crafting, the way the voice is sounding, the way you're delivering stuff. You're at one with you're one with yourself. You're comfortable. You're in the zone. Your clarity is something that very few people ever have. But you have it. You then get the most powerful thing ever, which is power. Look at all the top content creators. Look at all the top artists, the top athletes, the top musicians. They're powerful. Yeah? They've overcome their fear. That's why they've got something that you can watch and observe. They've got clarity enough to know that they're not terrified of nothing. They know nobody out there can dominate them more than they can dominate themselves. And they have, by default, power. Power. That's when power comes. Now, the last thing that you will be faced when you got all these 3 elements is a demon that will possess you that has never been conquered in all of man's history. And that's death. That's the only thing that's left. Yeah? Overcome fear, get clarity, you get power. The only thing left for you is death, because power comes money, power comes with all the trappings of what you could ever perceive as success. What you do if it's your own business, because power can corrupt you. Nothing corrupts more than power. Power corrupts absolutely. You know what I'm saying? Everyone knows that saying. But what's left for you is death. And death could be your brand. That's why I see brands go up, go down. It could be your music. You see music come up, go out. You see what I mean? So knowing that, it should enable you to remain humble and hungry. And just because one platform dies, it's time for you to then open up another platform. Be born again into something else. Yeah. You understand what I'm saying? So that's what I want to leave you with. Hope you guys be safe out there. Time to bring home the baton. Final 100 meters, 4x400 meters. Every bee, final leg. I'll pass the baton to every bee. We're like third from last. We're third from last, 100-meter sprint. Bring it home.
Okay. So one of the things I just wanted to make sure we had in closing, today's topic, which was content is king. All the things, the emotions that lead to presenting that content is king. The best way I can say this to you now, is if we look at all the things that's been said, this is a mountain. It's not just a flat ground. This is a mountain. We've gone past pressing the button. So we've got past the fear. The fear is starting. So you're starting to climb the mountain. What did we look at? What are you going to talk about? The awareness, the engagement, the buying or selling, the evaluating, the reporting, the discussing. These are all the things that you can
neck and neck, last 50 yards, neck and neck, last 50 yards, bring it on, bring on the baton.
Yeah. So these are all the things that allow you to just get started. Even with the smallest idea, the smallest spark from an idea can light the largest room. So you've got that, you've got your topic. Yeah. And again, this aligns with everything else in life. So we're not just telling you just before the YouTube. This is in life as well when you're going to engage with people you don't know.
Okay, guys, everybody ready?
Atomic mic drop.
You brought home the baton. It was a close finish, but we finished it first. Just press record, guys. Be safe. We're
Press
out.
that button. Absolutely.
That's it.